Hey there, so I'm not a doctor, but I've been a coach to others on Naltrexone and the Sinclair Method since 2018, and I would love to troubleshoot why it is that you might not be seeing any results taking 50 milligrams of Naltrexone 2 hours before drinking. So for those that aren't aware, this specific way of using naltrexone, taking it before drinking, is called the Sinclair Method protocol. This is a specific protocol that uses naltrexone with alcohol to help retrain the brain and essentially reverse alcohol addiction neurologically in the brain. And when that happens over the course of about a year, for most people, their cravings for alcohol completely go away. And if and when they do drink, they have control. They're drinking in moderation, they're not drinking to excess, and most of us are spending most of our time alcohol free. So some of the reasons that you might not be seeing some results yet on the treatment. Number one, I would ask you, when you are drinking, are you drinking on an empty stomach? This is a habit a lot of us have to get the buzz more quickly, and this can influence how well someone responds to naltrexone. So a best practice we always advise our program members to do is to make sure you have food in your stomach when you start drinking so that your body is absorbing the alcohol more slowly and you're not getting that spike in your blood alcohol levels. This is something that helps people drink less anyway, but with naltrexone especially, it can really help bring mindfulness to the drinking experience and then just ensure that you're not flooding your body with too much alcohol all at once to kind of overpower the effects of naltrexone. The second thing I'll say is you might want to talk to your doctor about increasing your dose. Some people do find that they need to take a higher dose of the medication. I know people who take 75, some people who take 100. So that's something to talk to your doctor about. 50 milligrams is the standard therapeutic dose that is used for the treatment protocol, but some people do need a higher dose. Third thing I'll say is this treatment really needs time to work. It took us time to develop alcohol dependence. It will take time to reverse it as well. So 2 months is still very early in the treatment. When people enroll in our program, we typically tell them to give this treatment a year to see full results. Typically, people will start to see changes in their drinking, within the first month, but the progress builds over time. And so this isn't a quick treatment. For most of us, it just needs time to work. So 2 months is still pretty early. So you want to give it more time to work. Another thing I'll say is sometimes people expect the results on this treatment to be like mind-blowing and obvious from day one, and they can ignore the small changes that are actually happening that are signs that the treatment is working. So are you drinking a little bit more slowly? Does the alcohol taste a little different? Do you notice that your craving is a little bit less intense? Are you drinking a little bit less than you were before? These are just signs to pay attention to. I always encourage people to notice the small, subtle changes and celebrate them, because that's really how this treatment protocol works. It's kind of like a weight loss journey where you're like working out, you change your diet, and you're hardly losing any weight, or you're losing like a pound a week and it feels like nothing's happening. That's kind of how this protocol works, where the changes are gradual and subtle and they build and build the longer you're on the treatment. Also, another thing we talk about in our program is meeting the medication halfway. So naltrexone in the Sinclair Method is 50% of it, and the other 50% of it is where you come in. Naltrexone and TSM is foundational because it works to reverse the alcohol use disorder at the root level, which is neurologically in the brain. And when that happens, again, the craving starts to quiet down, that overwhelming compulsion to drink starts to become less. And when that happens, that's where we can come in to think about other things, think about other hobbies we can do, develop different coping skills, think about our relationship with alcohol and all of the emotional and historical ties we have to it, and work to gradually make these changes. Just for me, for example, I drank every day for nearly 10 years. And so it was a very ingrained habit where every night I was drinking, every weekend I was day drinking and drinking throughout the evening as well. Vacations I was drinking, when I was stressed, when I was happy, when I was bored, when I was lonely. All of these situations were an occasion for me to drink. And so as I was finding that I didn't want to drink as much when I was on naltrexone, I was faced with the difficult question of like, okay, well, now what? Now that I don't want to drink as much, how else am I going to spend my evenings after work from like 5 to 10 p.m.? What else am I going to do on the weekends if I'm not drinking every weekend? What's it going to be like going on a vacation and not just day drinking all day and being intoxicated the whole time? What about when I have a really stressful day at work? I would always race home and start drinking right away. I didn't want to be somebody who depended on alcohol in that way anymore. So I had to learn different coping skills. So this is part of the treatment. In our program, we kind of break it up in phases, where phase 1 is kind of just getting started. That's where you are now. Phase 2 is more about tackling the habits, behavior changes, the emotional ties we have to alcohol. And then phase 3 is toward the end, where the addiction's becoming extinguished from the brain. But just be aware that naltrexone is a really powerful tool, but the analogy I like to use is like naltrexone is like a key that unlocks a prison door, but that's what it does for you. It unlocks the door, and it's up to you to get up, walk out the cell, and go out and build a life that doesn't put you back in the prison of alcohol addiction. And so just to summarize, this treatment really needs time to work. There's a lot of different things you can do to optimize the treatment to make sure you're doing it correctly. You're setting yourself up for success. You're being totally compliant. You're talking to your doctor about dosing and redosing and all of these important components. You're understanding the types of alcohol that are more ideal with this treatment versus those that are not. I encourage you to pay attention to the small changes. Recognize that it's the small changes that really add up over time. Recognize that compliance is really key to success. And also, as you progress further on this treatment, how can you meet the medication halfway to change habits, lifestyles, emotional ties to alcohol, your identity as it relates to alcohol? If I'm like, oh, I've drank every night for the last 10 years, like that's my identity and who I see myself as. So in order to not be that type of person, we have to take on a different identity. And that's, another reason why this treatment needs time to work. So hope this information is helpful for you. As always, if you want more support and guidance on the Sinclair Method, or you're ready to get started, we specialize in the treatment here at Thrive. You can reach out with the link in my profile or head to thrivealcoholrecovery.com. Bye for now.